Hey guys, welcome to the Property Panel Podcast. You got myself, Jalen Hardcastle, here with co-host Josh Story, and today we're going to be bringing you some frequently asked questions from our clients and addressing those concerns that you might have that you might be too scared to ask. So before we do that, would you dive into our title sponsors?
Yeah, I'd like to thank our title sponsor for this episode. Shout out to Collier Title Company. If you need deed prep, title work, closings, and more, they're located in Brandenburg, E-Town, and Louisville. You can call them at 270-763-6589. And then for this week's sponsor, We Buy Houses. We can offer you cash and close in as little as 2 weeks. You can give us a call at 270-945-5416 or 270-945-7189.
Thank you for that, Josh. And if you or anyone you know would like to be a weekly, monthly, or yearly sponsor, it is $100 weekly, $300 monthly, and $3,000 yearly. And you're advertised on our intros, outros, as well as intermissions, and on all social media platforms. And we currently got a TikTok giveaway going on at 100 followers. So Could you tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're just looking for followers. That's the only way to enter. Just find us on TikTok, give us a follow, and then once we hit 100, we'll be selecting a random follower.
First 100 too.
Yeah, and out of that 100, we'll pick one, probably do it on the podcast, and then we'll send you over some Cedar Hill Properties merch, and we're going to do some Property Panel Podcast merch. Free way to get some free, T-shirts or whatever. We're going to send a little care package. So, yeah, go check us out on TikTok. We're also on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and Property Panel Podcasts on all those platforms. Should be pretty easy to find us. But, yeah, go ahead and sign up for our TikTok. Give us a like and follow on whatever platform you're on. Just a free way to support, and we definitely appreciate it.
Yep. You nailed it on the head. And then obviously we still got the November 2nd Golf Scramble coming up. It's in about 3 weeks, I think it is. So we got a full 18 roster team list right now. We do have one alternate. So if you would like to be an alternate, usually we have about 2 or 3 of those teams end up dropping out for whatever reasons may be. So go ahead and sign up for that just to go ahead and get your name on there. And then obviously we got the sponsor list for that too. We got a full 18 or 19 people, so we do got one on every tee pad. We got a few extras here and there. So if you'd like to sponsor, that's $30, and it gets your business on one of the tees. So there's going to be at least 72 plus people walking through there seeing that day. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, we got custom signs made, and if you still want to sign up to sponsor, you can do that. And like you said, we're taking backup golfers.
We should have brought one on and showed them the sign. We'll show you next week. They look really good. Thank you to Blue Moon Mercantile for doing those. They did a really kick-ass job.
Yeah, that's awesome, and you get to keep the sign too. That's part of the price that you pay. All of it's going to charity. And it's for a good event. We've already raised a good amount of money, and we're hoping to raise more and make this kind of a yearly thing. So we'll probably innovate, change it up a little bit, but we plan on doing this year to year. I'm excited for it. I know me and Jalen have been getting some practice in. I think we're going to be ready for it. So I'm excited. To go golfing here soon.
Yeah, we're actually going to be competing against my papa and John, our usual typical competitors when we go golfing, and there's some old men, but they can kick some little man ass. That's for sure. They put us to shame more times than not. But me and Josh, we've been feeling the golf game, so we're going to go and test our luck with them here hopefully this weekend. And then obviously we got Halloween coming up. You got any big plans for Halloween?
There's a few Halloween parties. I think and most of them are on the same day, so I gotta figure out which one I'm going to.
Yeah, you're going to be a famous man that day, that's for sure. Do you know what you're dressing up as?
I think I'm going to be Thor, and Melina's going to be like Thor when he was fat because she's pregnant. So she's going to have her belly out like Thor did.
That's awesome. Heck yeah.
So I think that's going to be pretty funny.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure out what we're going to be. And Ezra was like, I want Jackson Dad to be ghosts and me and Mommy be zombies. So I guess that's what we're going to be for the kids this year.
There you go.
And then obviously we're going next week. We're going camping, and they got that fall open, so I'm doing a disc golf tournament. But they got like trick or treating and stuff for kids. So if you're out and about and want to take your kids somewhere next week and go out Saturday night, they hand out candy to all the trick or treaters out there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and trunk or treat, you said? Deer season's coming along.
Yeah, there's some trunk or treats coming up. That's a good place to take them because, a lot of people don't want to go door to door anymore. So that's a good, safe environment for most people to go. We have a few around here in Brandenburg. So if you're looking for any of those, some information on that, reach out to us here at Cedar Hill Properties. We'll point you in the right direction. And then obviously, deer season's moving in. I know that me and Josh was talking the other day, believe it or not. What did you kill your first deer with?
SKS.
We was seeing this gun on YouTube, and he's like, "I killed my first deer with that gun." I couldn't believe it. I was like, "This guy."
Yeah, my dad had a bayonet for it. It didn't have the bayonet on it when I was hunting with it, but man, that gun had some kick when I was
That's cool.
10 years old, I think.
You going hunting any this season? Or?
I hope to. I'm looking to buy. I think I bought my hunting and fishing license, like the
Package.
all-in-one.
Yep, and you ain't done either.
I've not done either.
I'm just kidding. You might have fished a
I
little
fished
bit.
like twice.
Yeah, I haven't fished much either. I've been
Yeah,
wanting to get into that.
I'd like to go hunting just to get some deer meat.
Yes.
Just to have, put it in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Always love deer meat, so
Hell yeah.
probably the year I'll do it. I got the gun for it, so
Yep.
just need to go
Get
do
some stocked up in the freezer. I guess
about
we get into what?
it. You be deer hunting?
I probably won't. I know
I might drag you out.
Kason wants to go real bad, so I've been thinking about maybe taking him, but I don't know. I love the meat and everything off of it, but I hate doing the process as far as gutting it, field dressing it, skinning it.
Yeah, it's a whole process.
Yeah, that's not my forte. I like tasting other people's meat, if you feel me. But no, let's get into today's topic, answering some client questions that they've had. Like we said, these are common questions that come up. If you want to start us off, we'll go ahead and answer some of those.
Yeah, one of the first questions I hear a lot, what is a FSBO, or for sale by owner, which it's kind of in the name, for sale by owner. So I guess, typically what happens is, somebody's wanting to sell their house, obviously, but they're kind of wanting to get around having to pay commission, which is understandable. There's definitely a benefit to it, but there's also a lot of drawbacks. You are going to save on your commission, but, I'd say more times than not, you'll probably get quite a bit more money off of listing with an agent, just because, we're able to market a little bit better than maybe you could, just because we have all the MLS membership, so we can reach a lot of agents all across Kentucky. Also, it's just kind of what we do. So we got, leads probably already lined up potentially.
Yep.
It's a good way to get a professional in there to make sure, one, you're not getting a bad deal, you're not getting screwed, kind of setting you up for success like we've talked about before. Do you get that question often? Or
yeah, and then
really
also
see them around
yeah,
town?
we see them, and obviously we like to call them, try and win them over as well. Let them know that what our comps are, because we do prepare those for free. Right. They don't work maybe majority of the time, but it is nice when those one or two do pay off. But another question we ask dealing with those FSBOs is, can we use a buyer's agent? Because like you said, they want to try and get around the agent fees, and maybe dealing with realtors, they think some of them are going to be kind of shysty for reasons of their own. But yes, ultimately you can use a buyer's agent.
Right.
We will write it into the contract, and it is negotiable. And later on down this questionnaire, we'll go into a little bit about who should pay for a buyer's agent commission and stuff like that.
Yeah, and in some circumstances, if they're not willing to pay both side commission or whatever, they're wanting to be their own selling side. Sometimes these FSBOs are willing to at least do the buyer's agent, like you said. So they do kind of cut their commission in half,
right?
And then we're able to bring them a lead, and we get paid for our work, and they get a little bit of a discount, kind of representing themselves. Even though I would assume you're kind of just doing the whole deal
usually,
anyway.
Yeah, that's the sad part about most FSBOs for us agents, anyways. Is we got one that was off market and secured, maybe not as much competition as an on market listing, but at the same time, you're doing usually twice the work for one side of the payment, unless you can work it in. I know sometimes on those FSBOs, I'll let them know, when I'm presenting this offer, like, hey, if you want me to work your side for you, that's awesome. I can do that. I'm going to discount you from what I would normally list at, because I don't have to go through the listing process. So I'll discount that side, but I'm not going to discount my buyer's side. So where I might do 5 or 6%, I'm going to do 4 or 5% on those FSBO deals if I'm going to be doing both sides for sure.
Yeah, and another question I get a lot is, do I have to be pre-approved to buy a home, or to even see a home? I guess you could expand it to, but technically no. Just to see a home, it's definitely highly recommended. Me personally, I'll probably show you maybe one, maybe two, just to kind of meet you, get your expectations and stuff. But I definitely encourage it before that anyway. But really, you can't submit an offer at least a serious one, without having a pre-approval. Most sellers aren't going to.
Yeah, and to your
entertain
point, kind of like you said, you want to fill them out. So we might show you one or two, and especially if you're newer to the scene, obviously if you bought houses before, you should know that you should be pre-approved, so you can
Right.
obviously jump on those opportunities. But also, we could get you in touch with those right lenders, which
Mhm.
could help the deal progress even more quickly and a little more seamless for you. So it's not, a necessity, but like you said, after that first showing, at least for me and likewise for you, a lot of times we're going to make sure that you get that approval and make sure that we're in the right budget and that we have realistic expectations for ourselves.
And that's another thing is the right budget. Some people, they might be able to afford $2,000 a month, let's say,
Right.
but the bank's only willing to lend $1,500 a month,
Mhm.
and we got to know those things so we know what budget range to look at.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to be wasting both our times and looking at houses over your budget.
Yeah, we're not trying to offend anyone asking for pre-approval,
Right.
pre-approval, but anymore also they're requiring you to have those pre-approval it's in hand before you can even look at homes. So,
Yeah.
but also like we said, it gives you that ability to jump on the right one. If there's competition, we're gonna beat it out.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely a good thing to have. A good way to be prepped if you're going to buy. Honestly, I would almost do it before you even contact an agent.
That would be
in some
ideal.
circumstances.
That'd be ideal.
But at the
Yes.
same time, you want to contact a good agent to get a good lender
Yeah,
because
and maybe and it's ideal like when a client does hit you up and is like, hey, I want to look at a house, but first I need to get pre-approved. Then we're
Right.
like the best buyer clients because you're like, yes, you do need
They
to get
understand.
approved. This is working out. Let's get you in touch with a good lender. But then they ask, how long does this process typically take? Now I know it can differ between different loan types, but what on average, what do you see?
we typically put in 30 to 45 days. That's probably the most common window. They can definitely go quicker than that. They can take longer than that. Depends on the house. Depends on the loan. Like if you got cash or conventional, you're limited to inspections and stuff. You can get it closed out in like 2 weeks. As little as 2 weeks. I'm sure you might even close some maybe quicker.
Yeah. With the cash deal, basically, or conventional, I look at cash 7 to 14 days, conventional about 14 to 30,
Right.
And then obviously your FHA 30 to 45, and VA about 45 to 60 typically.
Yeah, the VA takes the longest, but they have the most checks and balances, and really it's for their buyers' protection. They're just taking care of their veterans.
And they like you said, they're taking care of veterans as they should be.
Right.
They serve for our country. They deserve a little bit of,
At least a
extra
house,
help or, a little extra protection against their investments.
Right. And a lot of people ask, how much money do you need up front, which also
All
can
the time.
vary because it depends
it's
on
very variable.
depends on your loan type, your financial situation. You can get in for as little as $0 down potentially if you qualify FHA, VA, or USDA.
Certain loan types.
Yeah, certain loan types, which FHA is typically 3.5% down, which is great. But they also offer sometimes down payment assistance, which kind of puts you in there for $0 down. And really, at that point, you're only in your $400 or so for a home inspection if you want one, and potentially like another $400 for your appraisal. So little is $0 down, but like things like conventional can go 10 to 20%. It's going to depend on the property type.
Yep.
It's going to depend on your finances, and your relationship with the bank. Have you got a bunch of home loans through them? They might trust you a little bit more and give you a bigger break.
Yeah, and to touch on your point, like you said, that's just down payment percentage. There are other fees associated, like Josh mentioned, for that home inspection. That minimum's going to be $400. Your appraisal is going to be minimum $400. You got your earnest money deposit, which is minimum typically around $200, but a lot of times about 1% of the purchase price. And then obviously, if you want a septic inspection, if you want your structural engineer inspection, that's another $500. And then if you need any reinspect fees, that's another couple $100 right there too. So there's a good $1,000, $2,000 right there just in inspection fees.
And if you're buying land, you might need a perk test.
Yeah,
it might run you about $800
surveys
or so.
What have you?
Yeah. So I mean, the fees can add up, or you could get in for pretty cheap, honestly. Once you get your loan approved and get through all that, FHA especially, I see a lot of those. Those are perfect for first time home buyers. That's what they're built for, and it's a really great program. I see a lot of my clients use them, and there's not a lot of limitations. There's limitations to the budget, but I've seen higher priced FHA loans. So if you haven't bought a home before, you don't want to put a lot of money down, that might be an option for you, and something to check out.
Mm-hmm. And nowadays, a lot of people,
Uh-oh.
that doesn't look good. But nowadays, a lot of people, they want to ask, do I have to pay a buyer's agent commission? And we used to say, heck no. That used to be the deal, but now we got this new NAR law. And, us personally, I don't think that we're going to make you pay our commission. We're going to try and write that in that contract, and we're going to serve you best we can regardless. But there are agents that we've seen out there that are making their buyers pay their commission, or if they're not getting that full 3%, maybe they're getting 2.5%, their buyers have to pay that extra half. And
right.
To each their own is all I gotta say, but that's not how I look at it.
I think the move for me is writing it into offer, like he said. Make it make sense for the offer, and really when we get a buyer, we do have to sign these exclusive buyer agency agreements, and and it does state if we help you purchase a property, there's commission to be due, but typically, like we said, one, you have to accept and sign the contract that we write, and we'll make it clear on there that the seller is going to pay for that commission. So that way you're not surprised by a commission fee.
Right,
So
yep.
it won't be, it'll be known if it's going to be paid.
Yeah.
And
It'll
we
be
try to
known up
avoid
front.
that.
Yep, and we're trying to make this transition as seamless as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We are coming into new issues as they arise, but we're tackling them each and every deal. We're learning, conquering. We're fearless and far, and we just keep on going.
Hey, and it's a good thing we got good lenders to work with, because there's a lot of new problems arising with this. But can they work the closing cost or the commission into the loan?
So that's tough. That's where they're kind of trying to work it out.
Figure it out.
A lot of times now closing costs are exceeding the max that a seller can even give in concessions. So
That makes sense.
that's kind of tough. I know that $7,000 seems like a lot in closing cost anymore. That's pretty common. And that's not even all the closing costs. Some of them are $11,000 plus. And I think some of those lenders are adding in some extra fees that maybe they shouldn't. I don't know truly, but I don't want to start adding my fees in on those buyers. I want to continue it how we've been, and I want to proceed with caution in these new times.
Yeah, and that's why I think this NAR agreement's kind of weird, because they're claiming it feels like the sellers are always paying, but at the end of the day, the buyer's cutting the check to the seller.
Right, exactly.
So the seller's only paying our commission from what the buyer's willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So
both technically paying.
Both are technically paying at the end of the day, but I feel like it's about even, and we've always been kind of open with commission rates anyway. But nothing really gonna slow us down. It's just something to adapt to, and I think we're doing it well. It really hadn't changed much here locally. Just maybe a few extra hoops to jump through, but other than that, it's the same. And we can sit down with you, consult with you. If you don't want to pay commission, we can make sure that doesn't happen, and we'll do our best on the offer side. But I think that breaks down everything. Do you have any more questions you can think of off the top?
No, off the top of my head, I'm sure we'll have some more. Tyler, like we said, was supposed to be on this week. Everyone send out a prayer for his grandpa. They're going down to see him. He's apparently getting pretty ill. So hopefully we'll have him on next week. If not, we'll have another hot topic to talk to you about. But that all covers it for me. If it's good with you, you want to give a thanks to the sponsors?
Close it out. I want to thank our title sponsors for this episode. Big shout out to Collier Title Company. If you need deed prep, title work, closings, and more, they're located in Brandenburg, E-Town, and Louisville. You can call them at 270-763-6589. And then for this week's sponsor, We Buy Houses, we can offer you cash and close in as little as 2 weeks. You can give us a call at 270-945-5416 or 270-945-7189. Thank you, guys.